Hi guys, it's Hani here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna show you how to make this adorable Be Mine Valentine's Day cake roll. To make the pattern batter, you're gonna need room temperature butter, all-purpose flour, powdered sugar, egg whites, and also flavoring. Start by beating the butter and then gradually add powdered sugar. Measurements for this specific recipe are posted down below in the description box. Now I'm adding egg whites, and then we're gonna add flour. Now, to make the honeycomb pattern, I'm going to color the pattern batter with a little bit of yellow food coloring. To make the honeycomb pattern, I'll be using a stencil. You're also going to need few magnets, and then to spread the batter you can use small spatula or a kitchen scraper. You're also going to need a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to flip my baking sheet upside down. It's easier to spread the batter this way without having the sides of the baking sheet in the way. So now we're gonna use yellow batter and spread it across the stencil. Now if you have a stencil that is slightly bigger, that's fine. You don't have to worry about doing the exact same thing. I know these stencils, they come in different sizes. One thing I wanted to mention is the thickness that you want to spread this onto the stencil. You want to make sure that it's rather thick. You don't want to spread it too thin, because then it's not going to stick to the cake batter and it will kind of become translucent once you bake it. So now carefully lift it up, make sure you hold the parchment down. You can see it's pretty thick. Don't worry about the look of it now, because this is not what you're going to see. You're going to see the other side. I'm going to stick this into the freezer for about 30 minutes. While that's chilling, we can prepare the cake batter. To make the cake batter, you're going to need eggs, granulated sugar, and also a flour mix. You're also going to need melted and cooled butter, a little bit of salt, and vanilla extract. Now I'm adding salt, and you're gonna beat the egg whites on high until foamy, and then gradually add about half of the granulated sugar. Once the meringue reaches stiff peaks, you can stop beating. Now I'm going to scrape the meringue into another bowl so I can use my mixer bowl for the egg yolks. Add the egg yolks and also remaining granulated sugar. You're gonna beat this on high until pale in color and doubled in volume. I'm adding vanilla extract into melted and cooled butter, and then we're gonna gradually add butter to egg yolks. Once all the butter is mixed in, you can add food coloring. I'm adding orange, Once the food color is mixed in, we can gradually fold in flour, alternating with meringue. I'm going to do this in 3 additions. At this point, your oven should be also preheated to 350 degrees of Fahrenheit. Now spray your cake pan with nonstick spray, especially around the edges, so the cake doesn't stick to it and it's easier to release. Now take the parchment out of the freezer, and now we can spread the cake batter on the top. I recommend using a long spatula to do this. I'm going to bake this for about 12 to 15 minutes. Be sure to watch it carefully so it doesn't burn. Here I'm using a small silicone spatula, running it along the edges to make sure that the cake is not sticking anywhere. And now we can invert the cake onto a parchment paper dusted with powdered sugar. Now isn't that gorgeous? I totally love how this looks. I'm putting another wax paper on the top, and now we're gonna flip it again. So this is how you do it. If you are new to this type of cake style, you have to flip this again. The bottom baking sheet becomes the top, and now peel off the wax paper, and now we are going to roll it. I'm going to start rolling the cake now. I'm starting at the side that the pattern is the furthest from. This way it's gonna end up on the top of the cake. Now we have to chill the cake for a couple hours. It was really easy for me because I just stick this outside. It's 10 degrees out, minus 12 degrees of Celsius, so it took only a couple hours to chill. For the filling, I'm using cream cheese frosting, and I'm adding a little bit of red food coloring. Now make sure that your paddle attachments are all correctly attached. Mine fell out. My cake roll actually nearly froze outside, so I had to let it sit at room temperature for a little bit. So make sure that you let it come to room temperature before unrolling, if that's the case. Now take your frosting and spread it onto a cake. Once you spread the frosting onto your cake, it's time to roll it, and I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, and we're gonna chill this cake for several hours. To decorate the cake, I'm going to show you how to make cute little fondant bees. You're going to need yellow, black, and white fondant. Take a large round piping tip and cut out small rounds. Now roll out the yellow fondant slightly thicker and cut out rounds again. These are going to be for the head and also for the tail where the sting is, because we're gonna shape it, but I'll show you how to do it just in a second. Make sure you clean the piping tip before you start cutting out black rounds. I'm going to layer yellow and black rounds using a little bit of water as glue. I'm doing 3 yellow rounds and 3 black rounds. Once you've added 3 rounds of black and 3 rounds of yellow, take thick yellow round and stick it onto the black. This is going to be back of the bee. And now using your fingers, shape it. At first just roll it and then use one finger to shape the front of the bee so it's narrower than the back, and then shape the back into a point. This is where the sting is. To make the head, I'm using another piece of wide yellow round. Just shape it into a ball. Use a little bit of water and glue it onto the body of your cute little bee. Here is another take, just so you get an idea what I'm talking about. Another rolling between your fingers, and then we're gonna shape the very end, almost as if you were to shape it into a cone, and then the back you're gonna shape into a point. So I hope that makes sense, and you're just gonna continue until you have enough bees to cover the whole cake. To make the wings, you're going to need white fondant and a small teardrop shaped cutter. If you don't have a teardrop shape but you have a small heart cutter, you can also use that. Moisten the fondant a little bit with water and then take white pieces and stick them on. To make the eyes, take a small piece of black fondant and shape it into a small snake. And then using a knife, cut tiny little pieces, then shape them into balls. Moisten the head and then stick the eyes on the head. You might want to press a little bit so they stick, and there you go, cute little fondant bee. We're also going to need some hearts to decorate the cake roll. I'm using red fondant to do this, and I'm going to be using 3 different sizes of heart cutters. Once you prepared all your fondant decoration, it's time to decorate the cake. I'm using stiff royal icing to attach all the fondant pieces onto the cake. When attaching the bees onto the cake, especially sides of the cake, you may run into a slight problem. They're not gonna wanna stay in place. So to help with this problem, I ended up using a toothpick in addition to royal icing. So I cut the toothpicks in half and I used those to stick the bees onto the cake. It worked out perfectly. When storing the cake in the refrigerator, you can cover it loosely with plastic wrap, or you can also use a foil and create a dome to prevent cake from drying out. And that's how I made this adorable Be Mine Valentine's Day cake roll. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I had so much fun making this cake. It turned out so cute. And if you're looking for more cake roll ideas, be sure to check out my videos on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.